Hey, what's up guys? This is Dean from the Songwriting Studio, and in today's video, I want to share with you a very common song arrangement issue. So like I was saying, I want to share with you today one thing that I hear all the time within arrangements that is a weakness, that's a problem that you don't have to have in your song, and then I want to share some practicals of how you can fix it, okay? So as you know, I run this studio here where we're teaching classes locally and online about songwriting, recording, music production, and getting your own music actually completed and polished and out there. And so I get to hear a fair amount of songs, and one of the things that I commonly hear is this one thing. So catch this, okay? Pay attention. And that is this: a lot of songs do not progress. And what I mean by that is verse 1 and verse 2 sound exactly the same, just maybe with different lyrics. Or my favorite is they'll have an intro that's a measure or two, and then they'll actually double that intro, maybe quadruple that intro, and they don't change a thing. The fourth time they do it sounds exactly like the first time. Now, I'm not bashing on anybody. I'm not trying to make you feel bad because I've done the same thing. But if it's almost a minute into your song before I actually hear any words, and you have this repeated intro that it's like a loop, it sounds exactly the same, we really need to progress that thing or chop that thing, okay? I'm not saying that verse 2 should sound like a completely different part of your song than verse 1, but verse 2 should sound like a more dynamic version of verse 1. If you're in chorus 2, it should sound like a more dynamic version of chorus 1, and the same with chorus 3. It should be your most dynamic version of the chorus. I think you get what I'm trying to say here, and that is your song really needs to keep trucking forward, and each part needs to draw you in a new way. Now, there's some practical things you can do for that. Let's start with vocals. If you come into verse 2, you might add another vocal, say a light harmony, or even just an octave, or you might sing things with a little bit more energy. Or you could move to your instruments. Let's say your mid-range instruments like guitars, pianos, and your melodically driven instruments. You might want to change things up. You might want to add an instrument. You might want to change the way you're playing your guitar. Maybe it's more dynamic and punchy and rhythmic now, as opposed to the way it was in verse 1. And then I would say the third thing is think about your drums, okay? So from chorus 1 to chorus 2 to chorus 3, start to open them up a little bit more, so that by chorus 3, you've got just big, wide open drums. So the thing I want you to get with this is it's more of the concept. It's not these little ABC, this is what you gotta do, these little practicals I can give you. It's really gonna be different for each and every song, but if you retain that concept in your mind as you're working on a song, then you can listen and go, okay, how can I make this progress? And it might even mean less things for a while. Sometimes progression is actually taking away things and then reintroducing them just for a different feel. So instead of just talking about this, I wanted to show you an example from a song I worked on for a client about 2 or 3 years ago, and she had 4 different verse sections, and I wanted each of the 4 sections to progress and to build on one another. So here is that song.
What can I say when sorry's overplayed? Like a broken record. The ones who are close are the ones who are the most. I didn't mean to do that. The thing is you know we gain control when we finally let it go and find peace. Open up your hands, throw away your plans. It's time for something sweeter.
For those of you who are following along in the 8-week song challenge, this would be week number 5, and your assignment in week 5 is to simply do this. Go through your song, analyze it, and go, okay, do I need to have this progress from verse to verse or chorus to chorus, or is my intro too long and boring? and see what elements you can add or change or shift to actually make your song progress. All right, so that is it for today, my friends. Do whatever you do at the end of a video, a comment for questions. I really don't like saying like, subscribe, hey, come follow me. If this is great content, then you know what to do. Beyond that, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.
This thing with me